What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to LightSaber Radio, the most outrageous Star Wars show on the web. And today, we're going to be taking a look at Bad Batch, Season 2, Episode 13, and Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 3. And we got some things to cover. So, let's go ahead on and drop that intro video and get this party started.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
I have a bad feeling about this.
You are now if you only knew the power of gods.
Here it comes. Let's go.
You are now tuned in to LightSaber Radio. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello there.
What's going on, everybody? We got Lenny in the chat. We got Star Wars team leader in the chat. Dr. Cardi's in the chat. Chris is in the chat. What's going on, guys? Okay. Now, I've been reading through some of the chat, and
Right. Chat is right. This was
yeah, these
a
two
rough week for
episodes
Star Wars fans.
were very disappointing, in my opinion. Like some of the worst episodes that we have got so far. First off, let me say, why the fuck is the Bad Batch fighting fucking tsunamis and tidal waves now? Like, y'all took this shit really to the left field. Like, fucking so bad left field that it was like, what the fuck is even going on? And basically, it's just a remake of fucking Indiana Jones. They had so many Indiana Jones Easter eggs in here. It was freaking just crazy. Like, Indiana Jones. Oh, wow. Indiana Jones. Oh, wow. Indiana Jones. Oh, wow. A Star Wars reference. Oh, wow. Indiana Jones. Oh, wow. Indiana Jones. Oh, wow. Indiana Jones. Oh, a Star Wars reference. It was so much Indiana Jones, they could have called this episode Indiana Jones. They could have called it the ID or like indie recap or indie redo Bad Batch fucking series, because there was so much Indiana Jones reference in this that it was just freaking crazy. And
Yeah, that beginning scene, literally, it felt like it was taken right out of Temple of Doom. Especially, like, they even tried to poison him and everything. I was like, dude. And then just to make sure that they didn't copy it completely, she didn't drink the poison. I was like, wow, there we go. Okay. Bad Batch is not left field. It's a line drive foul ball that smokes a kid who's not looking. Yeah,
like,
true.
it was just bad.
Yeah, Bad
like,
Batch was bad.
it was so boring. Like, I could say the other episodes were at least fun. The other episodes that was filler episodes, they were at least fun. This wasn't even fun. This was like, what the hell is going on? Like, what are y'all doing? Like, what? Like, I was like super excited because of last week's episode. I was like, all right, cool. They building some momentum. We got, you know what I'm saying? They got to go save fucking Crosshair now. They building up to a plot point here, and then they just gave us this shit.
Yep.
Like, it was so, like, okay, let's just break this down. The very beginning of the movie in Arabic, on that sign for the club, it says Club Lucci, which is the name of the fucking main character bad guy at the beginning of...
Yeah, that Chinese guy.
It's echoey. Here, let me turn it down a little bit. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Yeah, it was so just, I mean, and then the entire scene was just that. It started off, they slid the artifact across, and they gave her the poison. Then we got a Star Wars reference. We got the little worm things from Attack of the Clone. So we get to that. You know what I'm saying? So, but then Hunter stabs that. Everybody jumps up with guns. Same thing that happened in Indiana Jones. Then Omega slides over the table, like whatever the little Chinese kid's name in Indiana Temple of Doom was. Short round. Yeah, short round.
Yeah,
It was short round. He slides over the table and then he throws some or whatever. She slides over the table, shoots the thing, the bell thing, light, whatever, falls on the dude. Same thing, the gong rolls in front of Indiana Jones and the dude, and Indiana Jones and the one chick that's in the Temple of Doom, and they jump out the window. It was like the same, like the whole scene was damn near exactly the same. It was so like, dude, y'all couldn't like, like, okay.
Have some creativity.
It was just so bad, like so bad. And then they was using Bible references, the Ark of the Covenant. The dude's name is Shep, like shepherd. You know what I'm saying? It was just so bad, and it was boring.
Oh,
it was just boring. It was so
think-
hard for.
yeah.
I watched it this morning. I woke up this morning at like 2:00 my time. I think is when both of them come out. But I watched my Bad Batch first. I watched that, and it took everything I could not to fall back asleep. Then I watched Mandalorian, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, what's going on here? Then I get done, I go to sleep, I go to work, come home, and when I come home, it's literally, I watched them again. I got my notebook out to take notes and everything. I'm like, maybe I was just tired. No, it was worse the second time. I was like, oh God. At least usually the second time around, I'll be like, oh, I missed some stuff. You know, I forgot, you know, I didn't see this or whatever the situation may be. Got none of that. There was literally none of that. I was just like, this is so boring.
Yeah, I think definitely the worst part was the other Bad Batch episodes that haven't been great. At least had the redeeming quality of being fun. Where, okay, you can't take it seriously, but at least you can like be a little kid for a second and enjoy that. You couldn't even do that with this one. This one, there was nothing at stake. It felt super cheap. Like, oh wow, an earthquake and a flood, like that's it for the Bad Batch, and we're dealing with this. I don't know. And it was a random planet that I didn't really care about, and I just didn't see what the point of this was. Maybe I think the only reason is like, I don't know, maybe this is a planet they will live on or something. I just don't see it.
I understand the plot of it. I just like they could have brought the story better. They could have made it more fun, like the Empire attacked the damn thing, or they had to fight off some like sea serpent or just something. They fought a tsunami. They fought a tidal wave. You know what I'm saying?
It was another episode where I was like, why is this Star Wars?
Yeah,
a lot of Bad Batch episodes have been like, this isn't Star Wars. This could have happened in any universe. This is just pointless. It like they're running out of ideas. Let's just recycle stories that we've already seen and put it in a Star Wars context.
Star Wars team leader said, did anyone else notice that Omega looked a little bit older in the face in the episode after she removed her hat? I noticed it when she was sitting in the when she's sitting in the chair, sitting in the chair or on the little step things inside the ship when they're flying to the planet. I was like, damn, why does she look older? But then it was crazy feeling. It made me feel kind of weird because when they show her on the planet, she didn't look as old. So it was kind of weird. It was like, wait a minute, now she looks back like a kid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she looked like she was like a teenager on the ship. It might have just been because it was dark, but it just kind of threw me off. But, you know.
Part of me thought, like, I was like, maybe I'm watching too much Last of Us. But I thought for a second they were going to have Omega be lesbian and kiss that one girl. I literally thought that for a second. I was like, I could see Disney doing that.
But it was just, and then once they got to the thing, she hands the artifact to the little girl, Elena, whatever her name was, hands the artifact to her. Now they're showing how like Indiana Jones used to collect the artifact and be like, this belongs in the museum. Like, you know, it was like, dude, there was so much Indiana Jones that it was like freaking crazy. Like, dude, like almost all the Easter eggs in there was Indiana Jones Easter eggs. I was just like, oh my God. Like, dude, y'all could have just made Indiana Jones. Like, just come out with the Indiana Jones series. Shit, if that's what y'all really want to do. Do y'all got the Indiana Jones writers writing Star Wars? What's going on here? Yeah. Like, did y'all say, no, we need new people. Indiana Jones writers come over here and write Star Wars. Star Wars writers go over here and write Indiana Jones. Because it's like, dude, I don't understand this at all. Like, it was one of... Like, dude, this is the only episode that I think that I really didn't like at all. Like, I just did not like this episode at all. There was like nothing that was fun to me about this episode. It was just boring. It was pointless. I mean, I understand that Hunter wants to find Omega a place where they can hide out and they can live, and she could be a kid, and he wants all these things for her. We get that. We've understood that since the first season. Y'all don't need to put it in our face. We're not stupid. A 5-year-old could have figured that, knows that Omega, that's what Hunter wants for Omega. Right. You don't need to put it just throw it in our face every other episode.
At the same time, like, what makes you think that's what fans wanted to see? The reason fans are watching this because it's the Bad Batch. It's the Bad Batch we knew from the last season of Clone Wars, like this elite group of soldiers, and instead we're watching 4 guys and a girl. Like, it's like babysitting and looking for a new home. Like, I just don't get why.
Well, it's like they're trying to make. It's like they went through. And they said, okay, let's go through the last 20 years of TV. What worked? Okay, we're going to make the show about this. That's not what we came to see. If I wanted to watch them shows, I would go watch them shows. I want to watch Star Wars. I want to watch the Bad Batch be badasses. Mm-hmm. I don't want to watch a badass scene at the very beginning that's a remake of another scene of a movie that we've already seen. And then they just go to basically Indiana Jones. I mean, there was some cool parts, like they had all the aliens from A New Hope in the beginning inside the cantina scene and outside the cantina scene, which was cool. I didn't mind that too much. You know what I'm saying? It was cool to see all them characters. But it's like, dude, like, that you're not giving us anything in story-wise this worth watching, and it pisses me off, especially because they came so strong last episode. They came so strong.
I mean,
like,
so
I really
strong.
thought the rest of the
Mando.
I thought the rest of the season was going to bleed up from there. Like, now my prediction of the following of the season now is, now they done got their home, they're going to stay there. The next episode we're going to see them building. They're going to find out. They're gonna get like fucking what's her face, the green lizard chick, whatever her name is, Sid. She's gonna turn them into the Empire to collect the reward because she wants some more money. She knows where they're at. They're gonna fly. The Empire's gonna come there. They're gonna whoop the Empire's ass, whoever they send out there. After they do that, that's how they're gonna find out that Crosshair was took to the other planet. They're going to go rescue him, and then they're all going to live happily ever after on this planet.
Probably. I mean, you're not wrong.
And that's going to be the end of the Bad Batch. And that's not what I don't want to see that. I mean, I want to see them go rescue Crosshair. I want to see them battle the Empire, but I don't want to see them all sit there and be on this planet and live forever.
I just really thought that's what Bad Batch was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot more fighting the Empire.
Yeah.
So far, it's been very little to none of that.
Especially this season. At least last season, the whole season was basically them fighting the Empire. Every episode has something to do with them fighting, going to save somebody from the Empire, fighting the Empire. This season ain't been nothing that has to do with the Empire.
Yeah.
They tried to rob the Empire one time, they were trying to get the stuff off of Dooku's planet, and that's about it they've had with the Empire. The rest of it, the other Empire stuff that we seen was stuff that had to do with Crosshair.
Right. So, I guess what would you rank it? I guess there's not much else to say about it because I didn't.
I'm ranking this episode a 2.
A 2.
A 2.
All right.
This was the worst episode out of all the Bad Batch to me. Like, this one really disappointed me a lot, especially with the build up from last week. They left us on a cliffhanger. And then they didn't follow through with the cliffhanger. They just gave us some random episode that didn't mean anything.
Right. I mean, I already put it as a 2 as well. I think I would agree with that. I don't think. I mean, it wasn't like, oh my god, I want to vomit from watching this. Like some other Star Wars things that Kyle doesn't want to talk about because he hates it. But I mean, it was. Besides that, there was not much redeeming quality.
It just wasn't good. And the fact that, like, I think the thing that irritates me the most is that they left us on a cliffhanger last episode. Like, you got this episode and there's 4 more episodes coming. Like, you could have did a little 2-episode arc of them going to get Crosshair or something happened. You know what I'm saying? Something happening that you left us on a cliffhanger and did not fulfill the promise of what's to come. You just threw in a random episode that had really no reason to be there. And then it wasn't even it wasn't even fun. Like, I didn't enjoy it. Like, I was like, okay, now they're fighting tsunamis. They're fighting tidal waves. What the hell? Now they're just saving people. Like
this could have been an episode of fucking like Paw Patrol.
Like, it wasn't good at all. It was just, and then like another thing, like when everything I'm watching, like, this is Indiana Jones. This is freaking Indiana Jones. That's Indiana Jones. That's Indiana Jones. Oh, now they're bringing the Ark of the Covenant in. I think the monkeys playing craps was like the best thing I've seen in the whole episode. The little green monkey thing was playing craps. Yeah. Well, it looked like they was playing craps. 3 people in a circle, and they looked like they were rolling something on the ground. So it was like, dude, that's cool. They got some monkeys playing craps. If that's not some racist shit, you know what are y'all relating to on this one, huh? Like, it was just bad. Like, the whole thing was just not good. It was just like, what the hell? If they had the chakra stones in there, it would have been just a complete Indiana Jones remake.
They should have. You know, that's what they should have done. They should have had special stones that would have stopped the tsunami from getting them.
Like, I mean, I did like the fact that they did show a little bit more of Hunter's abilities. You know, he sensed the bugs, he sensed the earthquake coming. Yeah. He sensed these things, gave a little bit more character development on Hunter. But, I mean, other than that, we didn't get much. And I don't even consider that to be the big. I'd rather have the story being plot-based and finishing what they left off from last week than you guys explaining Hunter's abilities. Like, we know what Hunter's... Yep, the monkeys was even in Indiana. Everything, this was just Indiana Jones. That's all it was. They just took parts out of Indiana Jones and stuck it into an episode. It was not like, dude, like, and I don't mind Easter eggs. I think Easter eggs is cool, but not when they're blatant. Like, put them in the background where when you see them, you're like, oh, that's from, you know what I'm saying? Like they did in Mandalorian season, in Andor. You know, in the shop, you just seeing stuff like, oh, look, that's what's his face is, his Sith uniform. Oh, that's Padme's thing. You know, they were fun. They were fun Easter eggs. These were just blatant. This is Indiana Jones. They wouldn't even. Everybody that's seen Indiana Jones. There wasn't an Easter egg. It was just basically you just rewrote Yeah.
It was copying and pasting, is what it was.
Hunter can sense a small bug, but not a Zillow beast. You're right, Chris. I mean, it just didn't make and it wasn't even fun. Like, nothing exciting happened. A tidal wave, a tsunami. What's fun about that? Like, everybody run the higher ground, and that's basically what they all did. They ran the higher ground end of the episode. Like, it just wasn't. There wasn't nothing fun about it. It was just like, what the hell? Like, give us something more than that. Don't leave us. I think. I'm going to keep saying this because I think this is what pisses me off the most is they left us on an amazing cliffhanger and then they didn't fulfill their promise. That's like telling somebody, hey, I got something really, really good for you, and then never giving it to them. Like, you left them in this suspense. Like, oh, what's going to happen next? And then nothing happens. Nothing at all. It just was, I don't like that. And then they kind of did... It kind of did the same thing in Mandalorian. Like, it didn't fulfill.
It feels like I'm being taken for granted as a fan. It feels like no matter what, it feels like Disney's thinking no matter what we put out, Star Wars fans are going to watch it. So it doesn't matter. Not every episode matters. We don't have to put our 100% into every episode. And that kind of pisses me off.
Well, and this is not to go into news and rumors or anything, but there was a thing that Bob Iger said. I guess he was at some tech conference, and they was asking him about the Star Wars movies. And he said that he was not going to put out a Star Wars movie until it was good because of the flop that Solo was. Mm-hmm. Solo only weighed $400 million. It cost them $300 million to make it, so they didn't make shit on the thing. Plus, once they pay all the actors and everything, they didn't make shit. And I do agree that they shouldn't have put it out the same time as they did Avengers, but it's still Star Wars. Star Wars fans is going to go and watch Star Wars.
Right.
And it was very disappointing.
And putting it out at the same time as Avengers does not Yeah, it might explain the poor box office performance, but it doesn't explain the poor ratings.
Yeah. So, and I like Solo, but at the same time, he said they're not going to put out another movie until they know for a fact that that's a good movie and something that the fans is going to enjoy watching, which I'm okay with.
Too,
it sucks now we might have to wait longer. They're scrapping a lot of movies and they're shelving a lot of movies and stuff, which I don't like. If as long as you come out with a good movie, when you do come out with it, I'm patient enough to wait. It kind of sucks because I really want to see a freaking movie, a Star Wars movie in the box office. But I'm willing to wait for something that's good. Now, if you come out with some crap shit and I done waited 10 years for this shit, I'm gonna be mad as hell. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm gonna be really upset. But it's like, why ain't you putting in the same type of effort on some of these TV shows? Like, if it's not any good and you're watching this, like, what is the purpose of this? You know what I'm saying? Like look at it I don't know. It's even like when we're doing this podcast and we're talking about different things. I watch other podcasts. I listen to other podcasts and I'm like, what do you offer the listeners? What are you offering me to want to come and listen to your show? And then I try to absorb all that in and not copy it, but at least utilize it to make our show better. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what competition does. You look at your competition. It's like when you go to play, when the Lakers is playing the Nuggets, they're watching their videos, see their strengths and their weaknesses. And then they go out and they utilize the strengths and they go against the weaknesses. And that's kind of what, and that's what, they're not looking at this as Star Wars fans. Like, is fans is even going to want to watch this? Like, what is the purpose of this? And that's how the writers and that's how Lucasfilms should be looking at the stuff that they're putting out. Like, do fans really want this? Is this going to be even good? They're just it just doesn't matter when it comes to the TV series. It seems like for some reason they just put out whatever. And it shows in Mandalorian. Right. Because this episode, like, don't nobody care about Pershing. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares about what the hell, how the Emperor came back. He's back. All right, okay, we understand that. You don't need to.
Well, we did care, but it's a little bit too late. We've been sitting on this for how long? Nobody liked it. Like, it really feels like Disney's like, all right, you didn't like this? Well, we're going to make you like it. And we're going to keep cramming our ideas down your throat until you do like it. I'm sorry. We didn't like it. You already screwed up. Stop trying to fix it now that it...
Tori's here.
Hey, Tori.
Yeah, it was just like Bad Batch. Okay. You watched Bad Batch?
I watched both of them.
Okay. What did you think of Bad Batch?
I liked Bad Batch. However... to me, it seemed like an episode that they could have waited until like the last episode of the season, like the season or the series, like a series ender episode of they went and they did all these really cool stuff and they finally just found their home. That's how I like that. That's how it came off to me. It was more of a series finale kind of episode.
It came off to me as an Indiana Jones remake. There was like 1,000 Indiana Jones references. It came out to
me as a very boring.
And it was, yeah. Like now the Bad Batch is fighting tidal waves and tsunamis and shit. Like, yeah, it was bad. I rated it a 2.
So did I.
I'm going to go a solid 4. Because it wasn't an overall bad. It wasn't a terrible episode. It just doesn't fit into the whole like kind of scheme of what's going on this season. It was a nice feel good episode, but like I said, it's more of like a series ender to me.
It might have got a 4 for me if they didn't leave me on a cliffhanger last week and then not fulfill their promise. And just come out with this random ass episode that was Indiana Jones. Right. Like there was so many Indiana Jones references in there. The whole first scene was Indiana Jones. The name of the club they were in Arabesh was referenced to Indiana Jones. The monkeys was Indiana Jones. Then they brought the Bible into it with the Ark of the Covenant. it was just bad. I was like, what is this? What are y'all doing? Like, it was just bad. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was a very waste of. Like, I wish I could just get my hour back of time because I watched it twice. So, like, dude, I really wish I could just call Disney and be like, you owe me an hour of my life. Because I watched it twice. You got to give me that hour back. Well, actually, you got to give me 3 hours back because I say the same thing about Mandalorian. Mandalorian was, it was just, like, what was the purpose? It was like a fucked up, they tried to make Andor episode and they didn't, and it failed.
For some reason, okay. For some reason, or not for some reason, I actually saw a meme that was going around, and it's Mandalorian, but the Andor part of Mandalorian was in the red Andor letters. I was like, that's fair. That's fair.
It was just like, it looked like that, and then so it started off really strong. You got Bo Katan in them.
At least the Andor was like, this is a character we care about, and this is a character we want to follow, and this is important to the story. This is a character we don't really know anything about, don't really care about at all, about a story that we, again, don't care about.
Yeah, nobody asked for it. Nobody wanted to know what was, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have kind of wondered what has happened to like all of the officers that were considered, you know, kind of like the Nuremberg trials, if they were put up for their crimes against the New Republic type thing. So it was a cool, like small little answer of, oh yeah, no, they go through a reintegration process.
Right.
But Disney, it wasn't needed. Nobody asked for that. It's not Mandalorian. Like, come on. It was a fun little side adventure, but really?
It made the New Republic seem like, all right, what the fuck was the point of defeating the Empire? These guys are doing the exact same crap.
A little
I was like, I was like, what? So, like, are there no good guys? Like, what the? I don't know. It just.
Plot twist of the century, everybody in Star Wars is bad.
It was like, so it started off strong. You know what I'm saying? You got Mandalorian, they and Bo Katan, they lead, they fighting the TIE fighters, the dope TIE fighters that was in Rebels. You know, they're fighting and it's all cool and they blow them up and then a whole bunch more come and then they escape. And then it goes to the Pershing stuff. And at first I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? What's going on with Pershing, man? This dude, now he's part of the Empire. He's talking, got a big hologram of him talking about cloning and all his research. And then it goes to him working in this factory or whatever he's doing.
He couldn't even do what his TED Talk for the New Republic was about. So
it was like, that was pointless. Then they go through the girl, the one chick, she gets him. She's a double agent. She screws him over. They completely wipe his mind. The only reason they're going to wipe his mind is because that's a reference to, you know what I'm saying, they don't want them to know about the Emperor being back and them cloning Snoke and all that, because all that shit, everything's been leading up to have to do with the Emperor being cloned. You know, that's why the Emperor's trying to get Grogu's genes, because, you know what I'm saying, that they want to have that strong force ability in the clones. But it was just pointless. It was all pointless because I don't care. I don't give a shit about how the Emperor got here. I don't care. We already know he's here. Nobody wanted him to come back from the dead. He came back from the dead. And now it's just, that's like just what it is.
Again, I think they're trying to force a story that nobody liked in the first place. They're just trying to keep forcing it. And
that's like, nobody asked for it. I mean, I am a little bit curious now on what angle she's working. Like, if she's trying to bring back the Empire, like what's going on. So I don't know if it was them trying to like, hey, give a shit about this side story so that we can make more. Because I am slightly curious now of like what actually is her game plan. My sister-in-law, so CJ's little sister, actually says, I think it goes to show that no matter what, you got someone or something bad regardless of the side.
And I don't even think they were bad. What they were doing was just, let's just, fuck with your brain a little bit and make you all right. She's the one that cranked it up. That's how you figured out she's a double agent. She's still part of the Empire. She got to get rid of them brain cells because she set them up the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just one of those things that was like, why? Like, why do we have this part? And then it goes back to Mando and Bo Katan. Bo Katan is now part of the not take your helmet off clan.
The Children of the Watch.
You know what I'm saying? She's done got accepted into there. And it's like, okay, dude, like, what the hell is going on? Like, why?
And I did just want to claim CJ, whenever he listens, or Tori, whenever he talks to him, I was right. He didn't get grabbed. He felt like a fucking idiot.
So, CJ and I did talk a little bit about his thoughts and everything about it. So what we were talking about is he liked it. He says Mando is good, Bad Batches, eh. He rated it a 4. And then he says
He rated what a 4?
Bad Batch.
Okay.
He says she's part of the cult now, and I said, or just entertaining it, because I think it was more of an entertaining, like, okay, this is the way.
Well, we'll see as the series goes on, because there was a leak, and we'll get into that in news and rumor about 2 more characters that's going to be coming back this season. So
he had this whole thing behind it. Says, no, remember in episode 1 she talked about everyone leaving her and how her home's blown up, she's got her people, like now she has people and a new home. I think she's conflicted. It could go either way. And I mean, she could, but at the same point, like I had to argue with him a little bit and was like, no, like she is Mandalorian this entire time. She's like, this is asinine. You're one of the crazy people who are like, oh yeah, don't ever take your helmets off. Like that's not how Mandalore is. I think that she's more just entertaining it. He thinks that Bo Katan is falling for Din though.
It's possible. It's definitely possible.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, not
Clinton
to go.
says both episodes suck.
Yeah, they were.
In a nutshell, yeah.
Yeah, it's just. Neither one of the episodes just was any good. Now I rated Mandalorian a little bit higher just because of the beginning scene. That shit was dope. You know what I'm saying? The fighting, Mando coming through. Them talking, I feel like it was some real, you know what I'm saying, jet fighter shit, you know what I'm saying, it was cool. I like the ending because it kind of left you like, okay, what the hell's going on now? Bo Katan is, Bo-Katan is, you know what I'm saying, turning into the thing. Oh, that now you done sparked my interest. The rest of the episode was like I told Garrison before we got on the show, it was like 10 minutes of Mandalorian and fucking 40 minutes of fucking Pershing that we didn't care about. Yeah, that shit was. So I was like, dude. So the Mandalorian part was good. That 40 minutes of just filler crap that we don't care about just sucked.
Even the Mandalorian part to me was just like, there wasn't.
The action scene was pretty good.
The action scene was good. That's
and
fair.
I like when she poured the water in the thing when the forger, when she poured the water in the thing and it said, and she knew automatically, and then she was like, you have been redeemed. And then she started going in with Bo Katan. That shit was interesting to me, like, oh shit. But the whole Pershing thing, I was just like, what the fuck? Come on, man. Get back to the Mandalorian.
I do like how she kind of just looked back at Mando in the beginning and was like, did you see anything down there?
The whole beginning was cool.
Am I just going crazy? Like, did you see the thing that I saw? And he's like, no. She's like, oh, okay, no reason. It's fine.
So we got Kaylin said she sees the resemblance in Din and what she wants to be. Then Chris said Bo-Katan is definitely just going with the flow for now. Yeah. Her home is gone.
Exactly.
So she can't sit on and Broad,
And Brood.
I can see her channeling Din for the LightSaber to lead the Coven and revitalize Clan Creed.
So really quick side note. I did see something earlier and it made me think about it. So the LightSaber is won in combat. Well, the little General Grievous looking dude technically beat Din in combat,
That's
and
true.
then Bo technically beat the little Grievous dude.
So it's
So
hers.
therefore, the LightSaber technically is going back. It's back to
Bo's.
Bo.
Yeah.
Well,
Good point.
so like I was saying, so Disney released some keychains, and I'm trying to look for the
They
look
released
for the
what?
thing. They released a packet of keychains, a Mandalorian season 3 pack of keychains, and it has both of the Mandalorians that Bo Katan was in it. So we know that they're going to come back and see season 3. They kind of messed up, and I think they released it and they didn't realize that them episodes hadn't came yet. So the article says that basically everybody that's in the season 3, so Sasha Banks' character and that dude that they were with, they're coming back. So we will see at that point if Bo Katan goes from the new creed that she is in back to the others, or if she is converting to them and makes both of them go back to Mandalore and wash their sins away, because they're on her side. So when that episode comes up, because we know they're coming back, when that episode comes up, then we will really see what's happening. That was one of the news things that I had, but it's a good reference to what's going on right now, because as soon as that happens, then we will know for a fact whether or not she's gonna stay. This didn't, like, the beginning scenes and the end scene was good. It was just that middle part. The whole Pershing part just ruined the whole episode. It just made it bad. Like why? Like, why? Like, nobody cares about this. I don't care about this new Pershing. I don't give a shit. I don't care about Palpatine, how he survived. Don't care. Like,
I mean, it was kind of cool to see how they brought some of the books. So because of Kyle and CJ, I've started to read some books. Well, there was a book that did mention the amnesty program. So it has now been changed into canon thanks to Mandalorian now. But this is a new thing, I guess, that they're kind of reaching back into the books. So it's fun to see that they are reading back into other Star Wars.
The amnesty program is actually in some canon books too, though. So it was already canon.
But it's still fun to know that they're like looking back at the books and be like, okay, so what new can we bring to the screen instead of just reusing the same tired stories? Not that, Star Wars is tired in an old story, but instead
I
of
get what you're saying. Yeah,
instead
yeah.
of bringing back Palpatine for the 14th time in a TV show.
Oh my god.
Well, we're going to see Palpatine at some
like,
point.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
I swear to God.
I have a feeling we're not going to see him in the Mandalorian. Well, just depending on how many seasons of the Mandalorian they do, because Dave Filoni made a lot of the news that I got for today is like tying into this, and I didn't even realize that. But Dave Filoni says he is very, really thinking about bringing animated characters into live action, and why this is kind of sets the thing. Dave Filoni is also saying that a lot of the at one point, Dave and John says that a lot of the stories are going to cross with each other, and they're going to all end up at one point. And I think the point that they're trying to end it up at is at the battle with the First Order on Exegol. I think that's where they're going to try to tie it into, because we know that we have rebels in there. We know that we might see the Bad Batch might have been there, or, Rex was there. You got, a lot of people was at that battle. That was like supposed to be the final battle to end all the battles, to end the Skywalker saga. So I have a feeling they're leading up to that point, and all the series is leading up to that point. The question is, like,
Nobody wants that. Who wants that?
well, I mean, I wouldn't mind being led up to that, but I just have a feeling at some point, Palpatine is going to be revitalized. And I have a feeling that it's going to come to a point, and that's going to be the death of Ahsoka. I have a feeling that Ahsoka figures this out. She finds the planet, and Palpatine kills her. Because that's the only thing that I can really see that makes sense for the true death of Ahsoka. She already died in, well, she didn't die in Rebels. Well, she died in Rebels because freaking...
Yeah. Or
because Vader killed her in Rebels.
Snoke kills her, and everybody loses their fucking minds.
So I have a question, a little hypothesis, kind of. So we saw it happen where in Mandalorian, Boba Fett was kind of reintroduced and came in the Boba Fett TV show. He had a little bit of parts there in Mando. He came back, and then there was that Mandalorian episode of Book of Boba Fett where, okay, well, we know season 3 of Mando is coming out. Here's a Mando episode for Book of Boba Fett. Do we think it's going to sound incredibly stupid, but at the same time it makes Filoni sense, where he's somehow going to find a way to build a sub-series, even if it's just like Kenobi, where it's like a one and done type thing, one season and done, where the scientist has his own show.
Oh God!
I certainly hope not.
Please no.
Because we saw it with Mando and Book of Boba Fett, and now he has his own episode essentially. Like he did. This wasn't a Mandalorian episode. This was a Dr. Purcell, whatever his name is, episode.
You're kind of right.
Like it fits the pattern of, okay, well, we're introducing a new sub series, a limited edition or a limited series.
I don't think that they would go with Dr. Pershing if they was going to do a sub-series. Just because he's not a character that anybody really... We only got him in a couple episodes of the first season of Mandalorian. The reason that they did it, the reason of this episode, I mean, I know the reason behind it, because you got to show that he doesn't, you know what I'm saying, he doesn't spill the beans about what's going on he doesn't remember the cloning process with Palpatine, because that's basically why they fried his brain, because of Snoke and Palpatine. Now, is there a possibility they bring him back in another episode or something else and unfry his brain? That's a possibility, but I don't think they would do a whole season. He's not an important enough character. You know, overall, he's not because there's other cloners out there. You know what I'm saying? I think it was more that they just had to show that this is the reason that didn't nobody find out about Palpatine or Snoke being created, because they fried his brain.
This whole episode made me really hate the New Republic. I'm like, dude, why the fuck do we fight for the New Republic? They're fucking trying to purge everything from the Empire, like just destroy any record the Emperor ever had. I'm like,
1984. It's the book, 1984.
Yeah, we've seen this happen multiple times. Like, this doesn't turn out well. I don't know why you're doing this.
I don't, and that's something that I don't understand anyway.
I joined the First Order too.
Well, like, why are you destroying all the Empire stuff? You kind of need that to, keep security and shit going. Right? You need their weapons, and I think that's one of the reasons that it kind of leads in. That was something else that was explained in this episode, was the fact that they're destroying all this stuff. So when the Force Order comes back, they really don't have no military forces. They don't have nothing to fight against them, and that's why they're just constantly getting their ass whooped in Phantom Menace in the Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. They just getting their ass whooped because they don't have no military. They're just fighting with, whatever ships they can get a hold of. They don't have, these big bombers and Star Destroyers and all this stuff. They don't have none of that stuff because they destroyed it all.
But at the same time, though, there's all that. Pershing is going through all of his entire job is to go through all of those chips of information and all of that, and they're all getting destroyed. Now, are they being cataloged? I think he said that they were getting cataloged into the system because that you learn from your enemy's issues. Like we saw it in, when with the Tech Union and Echo, where they took Echo and put him up into this big ass machine and was using his brain to get the play-by-plays of how the clones were going to be fighting. Why wouldn't they take that and be like, okay, no, this is important information. Maybe we should just like hold on to this in case shit happens again.
Yeah. I don't know. It just all seems like a mess.
Those who erase history are doomed to repeat it.
And see, that's Chris makes a very good point here.
I was just about to say that.
The first order is, could actually be the good guys against the new corrupt republic. Just like the separatists could have been the good guys against a corrupt republic.
Senate.
Because
it seems an awful lot like Disney's like, fuck republics. We're about communism.
Well, you think about it like this. We looking just in our world today. You know what I'm saying? We got a president that is 100 years old, that is making all kind of bad mistakes. Inflation is outrageous. The price of living everywhere is just skyrocketed.
The cost of jobs are going down.
It's just, you look at that and you're like, okay, the republic for which we stand is falling to this corruption of politicians making good money and not caring about the people that are beneath them. And that's basically the same thing that it happened with the empire. The empire was just a dictatorship with the emperor. Then it went back to a republic, and the republic is doing the exact same thing, and it's about a bunch of rich politicians getting richer and the rest of the galaxy just suffering because of it. And they make it sound good because, just like with our presidency, they're talking about saving the world and everything and make it sound good, but that's not saving the world. What you're doing is making it harder on the people of the world, and you're hiding behind this thing of eco, the environment and all this stuff. You're making it sound good, but the bills that you're passing is hurting the people. So it's basically the same thing. It's always, it falls into any type of thing when you have the powerful controlling what the underlings are doing, and it's no matter what type of environment you're in, it's going to play out the same because people with power want to keep that power.
So without getting too political, because there's going to be fans on both sides of the whatever, whether you're talking about real life or Star Wars, Abraham Lincoln said a house divided cannot stand. And you see all of these divides in the Star Wars universe, in today's living, in everything. Nothing is ever going to work until people can agree. And people are never going to agree with outside forces, outside people, constantly pitting people together. So...
Well, people ain't gonna, we ain't gonna all agree until they put chips in our brains and control us. and that's
how Order 66 happened.
That's what they're trying to do now. They're trying to integrate technology into our bodies. I mean, they pretty much doing it. They dictate by everything that we read. They dictate it by our phones. Next step is to just put it in our brains and then just control us. And that's basically the same thing that happened in Star Wars. And then Terminators is going to come and kill us all, and then the world will be ran by machines. Because AI is scary as shit. Because I be asking the AI questions, and I'll be like, what the fuck?
Kyle, so the fans aren't going to... So in our own little LightSaber radio group chat that we have, Kyle throws it. I'll ask the AI this. I'll ask the AI that. I'll ask the AI this. And every time I'm like,
Ask the AI.
Hey, the AI be knowing some shit.
Become the new God. I'll pray and ask God.
The thing about AI is... The thing about AI, and if you're on the right AI, it can search so much faster than what it takes for a person to search. I mean, it searches the entire internet in seconds compared to, you know what I'm saying, us searching, you know, for 3-4 hours to find something. And especially with some of the new shit that they got, man, that shit is crazy. And they about to drop GTP4. Actually, I think it already dropped. Just not up for everybody to use yet. But it's just crazy. I mean, and that's basically what the internet's about to be. We ain't going to have Google like we have now. Google's going to be an AI. It's going to be a chat service. You ask it a question and it searches the entire internet and gives you the top 3 freaking... It
kind of already does. Like, most of the people who use Google is like, how to do this. How do you do this? How many of these are in this? And I'm like, that actually kind of is a chat service. It just gives you multiple sites that you could get your answer from.
Right now, there's with Chat GTP 3.5, and then there's a thing that you can hook it up to the internet. Like, because if you're just regularly using Chat GTP 3.5, it only goes back to 2018 or 2019 or some shit like that. But if you hook it up to the internet they have several different apps that hook it up to the internet, and then they have a couple Google things that hook it up to the internet. That shit will tell you the exact answer because it done searched 150 million fucking websites. And if you want the website as a reference, it'll give you the websites that it found the information on instead of you having to click on it, read through a damn article to find whatever little bit of information you want, and then click on the next one to research it. I mean, it just finds them all, and then you can just click on it and read right at the article that it took it from. So, it's crazy. It is. And Chris said right now, I got a great idea for a new AI company. It's called Skynet. What could go wrong? And that's basically what's going to happen. Because whenever humans think that they're in control of something, like, oh, we're in control of the world, and then a volcano explodes and kills half the world. Oh, yeah, we was really in a whole lot of control. And one other thing, oh, we're in control of fucking AI. Yeah, keep thinking that. We're all going to be dead, and we're going to be in the Matrix. They're going to be sucking our life force as a battery. And Terminators is going to be flying around killing us.
So, Kyle, I know you said you had a little bit of news. Are we doing like news and rumors? Because I just found something
get the
about
rankings
Lego.
for this one first. Get the rankings for Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, we totally.
I'm giving Mandalorian a 4.
That's what I had for it as well.
I'll go 4 too.
4.
I'll go a 4 too.
And the only reason I'm giving it a 4 because I like the beginning and the end. The whole middle section got a 0.
Exactly. That fight, the fight with the TIE interceptors was the redeeming quality for me. That was the main redeeming scene. That was like, all right, that was cool to watch. But everything else was, especially the middle part, everything else outside of the Mandalorian was kind of just a train wreck.
Yeah. And just to let you know, I talked about it earlier that what was it? What did I say about the news earlier?
I don't. You said
before Tori got on there.
Oh, I don't know.
What the hell?
Dave Filoni.
Oh, Dave Filoni and was it about Dave Filoni? Oh, fuck, I can't remember now. All right. Anyway, what do you got for toys?
So, Lego has actually given us an actual Darksaber instead of it just being the normal plain, like, clear tube that has color into it. It's actually shaped like the Darksaber. It has the little cracks in it. Like, it's actually cool looking Darksaber. So we do have that. If you are up for embracing your inner Mandalorian and want to try Pong Soup, Disney has come out with a recipe for Pong Soup. And then This is more of like a discussion that's been going around since this morning from when the new Mando episode has dropped. So we know that Thrawn is coming back. We know that because of Ahsoka, the stuff that's come out because of Ahsoka. We're getting a live action Thrawn.
Well, there was also a reference to Thrawn in the Pershing part of Mandalorian.
Yes. And it is all over that everybody's like, okay, so who was the one that went after Mando and Bo Katan? He says, or Bo Katan says, Imperial warlords, blah, 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 blah. All over right now, everybody is screaming that it is Thrawn who is behind the TIE bombers, the interceptors, the everything. It's Thrawn.
Maybe. I guess we'll see. I had. Sorry, is that it for you, Tori? I don't want to interrupt you.
I had one more, but I'm trying to find it. So.
Okay, so while you're looking, then, I had just one piece of news. So they recently came out with a documentary about how and why the holiday special was made. And the documentary about the holiday special currently has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Because it's probably better than the damn Hollywood.
It's definitely better than the holiday special. But my uncle actually watched it. He said it was awesome, super funny, super fun to watch.
Chris says leak of characters to come, and that was one of my one of my news things that I had.
Was yours about the Dave Filoni talking about there being a major crossover event between all the Disney Plus shows?
Yeah, I think that's the one I talked about earlier.
Okay.
The Mandalorian season 3 merch that the leak of characters to come. So basically, it's Lucasfilm released the first look at merchandise for the 3rd season, and they released the keychains. So it has Axe Wolves and Koska Reeves, which is Axe Wolf was played by Simon Cassidy. I can't even say. And then the other one we know was played by Sasha Banks, which is the WCW. But they're both in the keychain set for season 3. So the keychain set is basically you have the dude that Dave Filoni's character plays. You have one of the touch the nose droids, whatever they're called. Again, you have the little
they're
creepy
pit droids.
Yeah, pit droids or whatever. You have the little creepy fucking things that are sitting on. They had the little creepy monkey looking things. You have Grief. You have Bo Katan. You have both of those characters, Mando and then Grogu. So that, and they released it at the beginning of the season. Like it released the same day that episode 1 came out, and nobody really caught this. And then somebody said, "What the hell?" And then Pelimoto was in there too. So that was the characters that are to come within the season. Then there was also some rumors about recasting Gina Carano's character, and I guess they've done, before the season was finished, they actually did a casting call on her character, and there's no release or there's no information as of yet of who that they hired to play her part. So I'm guessing she's already been recasted.
Ridiculous. That's jeez.
If you're gonna bring
if you're gonna bring back a character, bring back the actor that made, or actress in this case, that made the character. She fit Cara Dune, all that. Perfect. She made a tweet that had the mouse going up in defenses. If you're going to bring back a character because it's so important to you to bring it back, Bring back the actor.
Yeah.
Or they could get our girl
Or
to
just
play her.
don't bring it back at all. Like,
Exactly. Or keep her out on I believe it was they put her on like Secret Service or like the Star Wars
special
SEALs.
operations. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a SEAL in the Star Wars universe. Like, keep her there. Let her go out with high, whatevers. So we do know that Thrawn is going to be in the Ahsoka, and that we are going to get a live action Thrawn. However, Lars Mikkelsen he came out and he's like,
Yeah.
I still have not been talked about being Thrawn. Nobody has still talked to me about it. I would love to go back and do a live action Thrawn. I would love to be involved, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it's going to happen because nobody has talked to me.
Yeah, but he could also just be saying that shit.
Pull a Liam Neeson.
Yeah,
I don't want to. I hate TV shows. I'm not going to be in TV shows anymore. What the fuck was that?
Now he's just bashing Star Wars. Every time we turn around, he's saying something about them having too many series and it's making Star Wars look bad. They're taking away from the content of Star Wars.
I mean, to be fair, if you look at the last episode of Mando and the crappy episodes of Book of Boba Fett and everything, like, he kind of does got a point where they're just trying to push out content and not looking at the quality of the content and to see where it matches to make the fans happy and to make the new fans happy.
Yeah. The movies aren't your problem. It's everything, buddy.
It's you, Disney.
Well, that's the thing, which I'm, like I said earlier, that's what I talked about earlier. That's what it was. So Bob Iger was at a tech conference, and it was like the Harrison Watts some shit tech conference. Well, he was asked about the movies, and he said because of the way the Solo, they didn't make enough money off of Solo, and how it bombed, and it was the only Star Wars movie to ever bomb, that they are gonna really be careful on the next movie that they put out. That he shelved a lot of the movies that were in process of being made or were on the ballot to be made. He pretty much shelved them and said they're not coming out. So the question is, at this point, is, he basically said, we're coming out with movies, we're still doing movies, but it might not be in the time that we thought that we were going to do them. So it's like, how much longer? Because he said he's not putting out anything unless they know it's going to be good and it's going to satisfy the Star Wars fans. Which I'm okay with, just don't take too long. It's already,
Okay with that.
Oh yeah.
make something that's good.
But also don't make us wait for 5-10 years and promise that it's going to be awesome, and then we have to come back on a show and be like, that movie was horrendous.
That's
we waited
true.
for that.
That's a bold thing. When he does finally come out, if this movie's not great, oh boy.
Like, it better be a 10 out of 10. There could be nothing changed to it. Perfect all around. If there's one
great
thing
point.
out, Kyle's
You're right.
going to point it out and
You're
ruin it for
definitely
everybody.
right,
Just
Tori.
kidding.
I mean, it's definitely, it could happen. But I'm just, I'm happy that they're looking at not putting out stuff that is not.
And I am glad about that. I think Bob Jr., because I can't think of his last name right now, Bob Jr. really kind of took
Chapman.
He kind of took it and just kind of ran with it and was like, yeah, a little bit of Star Wars here, a little bit of Star Wars there.
Well,
let's throw in a sprinkle of Marvel here. And, look, there's a mouse that needs to be touched over there. But, like, and he just kind of fucked everything up.
Well, his thing was he was pushing for Disney Plus. He was pushing, put as much content out as possible. No matter if it's good or bad, just put it out and just get it out, because we need to build the Disney brand with the Disney Plus for the streaming service. Right. The problem is when he did that, when Disney Plus didn't do that great, because you got to think about it. If I'm only going to want to watch Mandalorian, I've seen all the rest of the stuff. I only want to watch Mandalorian. I have everything else on DVD. I'm only going to watch Mandalorian. So once Mandalorian is gone, what am I going to do? Cancel my service. Or a lot of people, what they were doing is they were going on a free trial, and then they waited till the season was over and they binge watched it on the free trial, and then they canceled it. And then when Book of Boba Fett came out, they just redid it under another email and did the trial again. And it's just one of the things that kind of pushed it. It didn't make Disney no money, and they were spending more money than they were making. That's why Bob Iger had to come back. Bob Iger made a comment that he was like, he made a comment in an interview I was watching that the only reason he came back was because at that point Star Wars was failing. Star Wars was failing, and the path after the last Thor, that he's seen a very bad trending thing that they were just allowing anything to be made. So that was kind of scary. Chris says hot takes, but I don't know if I'm excited about Taika Waititi's Star Wars film. His whole theme is always action with a good amount of humor. Is that what we want out of Star Wars? I'm hesitant.
I personally don't like him. I think he's kind of overrated.
And the whole little thing, there's been a lot of stuff, but I don't know if all of this is starting to, Taika, he put a thing out on Twitter.
He has, I wouldn't say overrated, but he has a very specific type, and just not for Star Wars, I'd say.
Well, he put out a thing on Twitter, and a lot of this is coming from his tweet on Twitter about his Star Wars films. From my understanding is his film ain't even written yet. He ain't even wrote the film yet. So there's not even a point. He was just the top contender for the first Star Wars movie slot. He had got the top contender thing. Then they started bringing in other people, and other people was Patty Jenkins and them. They already had scripts written. But I guess Bob went over these scripts and was like, these are not good movies. From my understanding of, and I could be completely wrong on that, but I know that he shelved the Patty Jenkins movie, he shelved What's His Face's movie, and 2 other movies that weren't even that nobody even knew about. He shelved 4 movies so far. And I don't know if Taika's movie is one of those movies that's shelved, but from my understanding, Taika ain't even got the script written yet. The script, him and What's Her Face was supposed to be writing the script, and they haven't even, from my understanding, they haven't even written it yet. They haven't even started writing it yet. So, they still have to write it and get it past Bob Iger before, it's ever going to get done. Because it got to go all the way up to Kathleen Kennedy. And then from Kathleen Kennedy, it has to go to Bob. Because Bob says he's checking everything that has to do with Disney. He's making sure that Disney's going to be good stuff. They're redoing the whole Galaxy Star Cruiser thing. They're redoing all that. He's really going in, and he's in the understanding that they have to do some things to get Disney back to where it needs to be at. And he is personally taking responsibility for getting Star Wars back out, which Bob Iger is still not the greatest when it comes to that, because we still had the sequel trilogy that wasn't that good. It wasn't I'm not going to sit back and say the sequel trilogy is just terrible, but it wasn't that good. Solo was good, but it wasn't the greatest movie. If I'm going to watch a Star Wars movie, I wouldn't choose Solo out for all the other ones. Andor was, Rogue One was good. So, they've had some good things. They've had some bad things. You got to remember Bob Iger was there when Mandalorian first came out. But how much did he have to play with it? Now he's taking a personal responsibility for everything that they do. And he's double checking everything, because it just a lot of stuff was coming out that should have never came out. And or if it did come out, it should have been a lot better. That's where he's at.
I'm slightly hopping on the Ron Howard train with CJ. Pull in someone who like he was directly under. Yeah, you have Dave Filoni and all of that. They were all kind of under Lucas, but Ron Howard was too. Bring people in that worked directly. If you're trying to build something back up to what it used to be or whatever, bring in the people who worked with the creator. I think it was Ron Howard.
Yeah, it's Ron Howard.
Yeah. Bring the people in. If you're trying to build it back up, don't have people like I love Taika, but like don't bring in these outside people who are just now kind of coming into the Star Wars universe a little bit. Put the people who worked directly under Lucas back in a position where they could put something out that is up to Star Wars standards.
But you got to also remember Ron Howard, when he directed Solo, he didn't even want to direct Solo. It was only because George asked him to that he directed Solo. Because he wasn't going to do Solo. He didn't want nothing to do with it. So asking him to come in and take over as you know, a higher position, I mean,
I'm not saying like and you know, maybe not Ron Howard exactly, but like bring people in that worked with and under directly of Lucas.
well, a lot of those people are dead now.
And fair.
So,
Bless you.
Oh, excuse me.
you know, we've lost a lot of people that were in, you know, you know, the creation of the original Star Wars, and even in some of the prequel series, we lost a lot of those people. I mean, I'm still going back to the fact that they need to get some of the writers from the books, from Legends and the canon books. They need it because these books are excellent books. They need to get these writers in. If they want to create something brand new, get writers in that write Star Wars. Don't bring in somebody that wrote fucking SVU to write a Star Wars.
Well, I think at the end of the day, you can't force inspiration. So stop using the writers you have and forcing them to write more Star Wars when they don't know what to write about. You're just writing Star Wars just to create Star Wars. Find writers who already have ideas for Star Wars. Like Kyle's talking about, people who have written books. Find ideas that can be written off of, not forcing writers to make ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, there's enough ideas out there, and there's enough ideas that even fall within the timeline that we're already in, that they could go to these writers and they could use these books. And because like the freaking Thrawn, like, dude, this is all happening during the prequel series, the prequel trilogy. Everything that's happening in the new Thrawn Ascendancy is going on, you know, during the sequel trilogy up until New Hope. This is going on during the same time. They could come out and make that a series about Thrawn, and people will watch that. Thrawn is an interesting character, and they're good books. They got great stories in these books. You can go to the Legends books. I mean, any one of us would love to see Bane, Revan, Darth Malgus, you know, Yoda, any of the characters that's in the Legends books. We would love to see these books come to life. Shatterpoint would be an excellent movie. You know, they could even go up. The only thing that they can't use is any of the newer stuff because it would contradict like Ben Skywalker and Ben Solo and all that stuff. It would contradict. So you can't use none of that stuff. But the older stuff, the older stuff, they could use that and they could really come up with some very good stories. Have these writers that are writing great stories. I mean, what the one book that just came out that I just finished it not too long ago. What's the name of the book? It's
Are you talking about Shadows of the Sith?
Yeah, Shadows of the Sith. It's within the timeline. They could come out with that. And that would be a great story to tell. You got Lando in it. You got Luke in it. You got, you know, a whole nother Sith person in there, a new bad guy, that's not even really a part of the Star Wars saga, but you could introduce him because there's still other like Sith type beings out there, and there's still ancient Sith, and there's still the Sith sorcery and all that stuff that's still there. It never went anywhere. It just wasn't practiced like it was. We didn't see it within the movies, but you could introduce that stuff in these stories. There's so much that they could do.
I think maybe not for a movie, but to take, like, you have the Book of the Sith, you have the Bounty Hunter's Guide, you have all of that. I think, oddly enough, this is a TV theory or a TV show kind of thought process instead of a movie. But I think having, like, Kyle, you've read the Book of the Sith. You know how, like, every chapter is a different, okay? Looking kind of like that, like bring back the Sith, and you could do a movie about them. You could 100% do a movie about the Sith and the Night Sisters and everything like that, but take it and break the Book of the Sith down, break the Bounty Hunter's Guide, break everything down to the point where the Book of the Sith is already written in episodes. It is. You could take it, you can say, hey, Darth Plagueis, there's Mother Talzin, there's this, there's that, there's this, and you can have these episodes that is in a series of kind of like we had in
Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, Tales of the Jedi, where each episode was based on a different person's perspective type thing. And I think that would be cool. You don't really see a whole lot of that out there. Instead of doing like, hey, this is the main person we're focusing on, this is what we're building our brand behind, expand a little bit. Like, you don't see things like that.
Well,
Change it up a little bit. And Lenny brings a good point. I was actually going to say this because I said something about Heir of the Empire. Heir of the Empire is pretty much what's going to be behind Ahsoka series. I've read something that says that the Ahsoka series is kind of going to go along the same lines as the Heir of the Empire trilogies. Obviously, we're not going to have Mara Jade in it, and Ben Skywalker is not going to be in it because he is now Ben Solo, but it's going to be Heir to the Empire-esque. It's going to follow that trilogy storyline.
It's just
I know what's wrong with it. There ain't no gas in it.
There's just there's so much that they have already. They don't need. It's like they're working too hard. They're trying to cater to the fan by showing us stuff that we don't even care to see, and we see that with this episode of The Mandalorian. Nobody cared enough about Pershing to want an episode about it. And they created a whole episode about it. Like, nobody cares. Like, and I'm not going to say nobody, because I'm pretty sure there's people out there that liked the episode and was like, they wanted to know more about Pershing. But I don't know. Me personally, I don't care to find out how the Emperor came back. I already know he came back. So, okay, they cloned him. Okay. You know what I'm saying? He was a clone. Okay. They did. They referenced, the Bane shit.
Kaminoans.
No, they referenced the Bane shit where the essence transfer. Okay, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But I don't need, that's not something that I care to. I want to know, what's going on with leading up to the First Order. I want to know that. So give me really good information that leads up to that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want to know what's happening. I want to know where the Mandalorians fall within this timeline that has to do with coming to the First Order. That's what I want to know. It's called The Mandalorian. I want to know, the episode should be about the Mandalorian. Shouldn't be about Dr. Pershing that we seen 2 times in episode in the first season for 2 minutes each episode. Why would you want to put this person out there?
And I am pretty positive in one of those scenes, the scene that Mando breaks back in, and you see him cowering in a corner. 99% sure he shit himself in that scene. Just saying.
I'm
Do
just,
we
you
want
know,
to see? Do we want a story about someone who shit themselves? It's fine.
it's just, it's not necessary. It was totally, and I can't speak for the entire fandom. I can only speak for myself. But we got plenty of fans within the chat. You know what I'm saying? I looked over stuff. A lot of fans everybody was saying the same thing that I seen. There was a few people that I seen say something different, but most people were saying, what the hell was the purpose of this? Nobody cares about that. Nobody truly cares about Dr. Pershing and where Palpatine came back or Sal Snoke got here.
We're just still mad that Palpatine did come back. Don't
Yeah,
reopen
exactly.
the wound.
Exactly.
We're
So
just getting over it. Don't reopen it.
So it's just, that's one of those things that just, it's like, and Garrison said it's the best. They're just like trying to force stuff. And that's what they're doing with all this different stuff. They're just trying to force, you know what I'm saying, content that they think we want to see. Like, don't even ask what we want to see. Don't do that. You think George said, I wonder what everybody wants to see, and they created a movie. No, George just made shit. He just made it, and he made sure it was good, and it was good. Because he wasn't caring about the fans. George didn't give a shit about the fans. He made the things that he wanted to make, and they were great because he had a vision. And Disney doesn't have a vision. They're just trying to cater to the fans, and that don't ever work. It never works. You ask any great writer, director, you write the things that you want to write, and the fans are either going to like it or they're going to hate it.
Bro, they're not even catering to the fans. What do you?
So I just want to. So Lenny and Chris kind of had this little thing in the chat. Lenny says the whole Pershing thing was because they wanted to hint at Gideon still being a thing, or maybe it was Snoke and Palp pulling the strings on it. Like, who ordered her to take care of Pershing? Chris asked, did they also say that Moff Gideon escaped? I'd take him over Pershing any day. Lenny says they wanted that question to be asked. They want us to talk about Moff Gideon. They want us to think that he's back. They want us to go on this little sidetrack of.
Well, at some point we know he has to escape because it showed in the
in the trailer, didn't it?
It showed in the trailer that he was in Mandalorian gear.
Yeah.
So at some point he has to escape. And somehow he gets some Mandalorian Beskar armor.
So looking at it as a possible foreshadowing episode where I think her name is King, where the communications officer helps Gideon escape, and that's her plan all along. Like, there just could have been a different way to do it instead of spending 45 minutes to an hour of a Mandalorian episode to say, hey, by the way, we're foreshadowing this in this entire episode. That's not how foreshadowing works. Foreshadowing is like a small little cutscene or a phrase or something, not an entire freaking episode.
Well, we have to understand that we know that regardless of the situation, Palpatine, because he is alive, he's pulling the strings that has everything to do with all of this shit. Everything that has to do with the corruption and the different things, her frying his brain and everything has to do with Palpatine somewhere. Palpatine's pulling the strings the whole time. He had been ever since the fall of the Empire, ever since his clone or him or whoever it was got thrown down the shaft. The other him was pulling the strings. And he says that to Kylo Ren. He says, I have always been pulling the strings. So, you know, he has double agents, and that's what she is. She's a double agent because she's purposely set him up so she could fry his brain.
What I want to know is sorry to interrupt, so I have family in the medical industry. I've done some things in the medical industry. All of this, I've looked into past medical procedures, all of that. He's essentially getting treated with ECT. And you are never, you don't leave the machine to just do its thing. So why did the guy leave in the first place that gave her the opportunity to mess with the dials? She said that she was a friend. She didn't want to leave all of this. But
at the same time, she is the what do you call it? She's basically part of the cops. She's a part of the cops. That's why her uniform is changed, and she was wearing the exact same uniform as he was wearing, the other guy that was in there.
I didn't catch.
So she's basically part of the fucking patrol or cops or whatever you want to call them. She's basically that. And when he left the room is because he didn't think she was going to do something like that because she's part of this agency. That was one of the first things I was like, why did her clothes change? Like, why is she wearing the same uniform as the other guy the other people that's doing all the things? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it's going. I didn't like the way this episode, it kind of gave me a bad taste in my mouth. Like, okay, where is this going to lead to? I mean, I know what they're trying to do in a whole, they're leading up to, to the First Order and shit like that. What did the Mandalorians have to play into this part? I want to know. But I just didn't see the purpose of this episode at all. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Chris says the foreshadowing there would have been more yellow biscuits in the future. There could have been another way that they could have done it to explain things better and make it more willing, or make it more, where you want to anticipate what's going to happen. The only thing that really made me anticipate anything and be excited for the next episode is what is Bo Katan going to do now that she's part of this new coven.
Lenny, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're all right.
Lenny does say, in a universe with plenty of cameras, especially on Coruscant, it seems kind of convenient that when everything goes down, there's just no cameras around. We know from the movies, from the Clone Wars, from everything that there's cameras all over that planet.
That's a good point. It is one giant city.
Yeah. Chris says it.
And even when he goes to touch the top of the mountain, a freaking droid pops out of nowhere and is like, "Hey, don't do that. Don't touch it."
Which actually got me thinking, all right, if that's the very, very top of the entire,
Garrison's
Coruscant,
going on the same tangent that I was thinking of earlier.
Yeah, if that's the very top, all right, you built that much onto, the planet, and with that much extra, you must have changed the gravity of that planet.
Yeah, so I had to break it down and look at the Clone Wars and everything, and how there's multiple layers to the city of Coruscant. You kind of see it, because there's that episode where Ahsoka she leaves the Jedi Order, and then we meet I can't remember her name, but she has the sister.
Sisters.
Yeah, the sisters, and they're on level 2 or something like that of the planet. So there's the top level, which everybody gets pretty much whatever they want. They're the 1%ers. And then you have the lower side, and it goes further down. You run through, we saw it with Ahsoka and Asajj Ventress. She's running through all of the different levels of this planet, and it just kind of made me think about it for a minute. So I'm glad that Garrison brought it up, because I was I went on this tangent in my own head. So
my first thought process was how is this the top? There's buildings way higher than this. Then I remembered. I was like, oh yeah, they started at the ground and they just kept building over and over. It's like the Romans. They started at this level and then they built another one and they built another one and then they built another one on top of it. They just kept building on top of the shit. Yeah. Until the next thing is that the entire planet is just a freaking giant city with 1 trillion people on it, which is freaking crazy. That's a lot of people. 1 trillion people. That's a lot. All right, guys. So everybody rated it, right?
Yeah, yep. We all got our ratings.
We all rated it negative numbers.
I just rated the middle part negative numbers. The rest of the part piqued my concern, but other than that, and that was only 10 minutes of a 56-minute episode. The rest of it was about somebody we didn't even care about. All right, so we will catch you guys on Saturday morning at our same time. Don't forget that we are doing the watch party this Sunday. We are going to be watching the Clone Wars animated, not the entire animated series. We're just watching the animated cartoon
Movie.
freaking movie thing, whatever. I like it, so it doesn't matter. But, so we will see you guys then. Peace, and may the force be with you.
Thank you for tuning in to LSR. If you've enjoyed the show, consider subscribing so you can be notified when new episodes are released. If you would like to be a guest on the show or just want to give us some feedback, feel free to email us. You can also reach out to us on all major social media platforms. LightSaber Radio is produced by PicFilm Media and is a Swaycast original, starring Garrison Turcotte, CJ Elliott, and Kyle McDaniel. And don't forget to join us next time for more adventures in a galaxy far, far away.